Good evening, Bante. Good evening, sister in the Dhamma.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to Malaysia. So to speak, are you in Malaysia?
Hey, I'm in Malaysia. I'm in Sentul.
Oh, in Sentul. Oh, okay. Yeah. We used to visit Chief there when we were living in Klang. We have moved to Penang. So we normally go to 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃 temple here.
Oh,
So good to know you,
yeah,
Bante.
yeah, happy to.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for this evening talk. I think it is something very considered as the most basic, but the most important too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And also thanks to Sister in the Dhamma and the organizer for putting up this Zoom, and to enable us from afar, we can join in. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening, Bante, and all the Dhamma friends.
Yeah.
We will pass the session to Bante.
Okay. Still, I cannot share my slides. Now I can, okay?
We can't see. Still cannot see.
Officers' equipment has evolved over the years. Now their helmets are mounted with video cameras which record the incidents, such as which can be used as evidence in investigations or for post-incident reviews and training. Besides responding to riots, the
You can see everyone the slides.
Yes.
Okay.
Very clear, very good.
Very clear at the moment. Okay. Okay. Okay, I will start then. I think, okay, anybody is joining later, so they can, of course, join for the discussion. Okay, so, okay, thank you for everyone, especially Sister Yixing, for inviting me to have this session today, especially focusing on 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃, the very important, one of the important sutta, the teaching of the Buddha. So this is very familiar sutta, and everybody know, of course, when we hear about 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃 sutta, everybody knows it's of course the first sermon of the Buddha. Okay, we will move. Okay, that's initially I want to let you know it is a Dhamma talk, and as well as it is a kind of way that sharing our knowledge about Dhamma. And the traditional way that we are starting the Dhamma talk is a little bit different, but anyhow, so I think you also want to know about what something you don't know about 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺 Sutta. So this is, if anybody asking, Bante, what is 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺 Sutta and why it is so important? Of course, if you are examining 45 years of the life of the Buddha, so in between the teaching from the first sermon to up to the end, but you will see whatever the teaching, whatever the matter, whatever the fact you get from the Buddha, of course, everything is clearly explained in 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺 Sutta. That is why it is so important. So most important thing, okay, so most important thing, since 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta is accepted all the Buddhist sect mean all the schools, even though basically we are talking about the 𝗘𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗺𝗃 and Mahayana, but you know clearly when you see that the second Buddhist council, it was of course happened after 100 years late of the passing away of the Buddha, great demise. So then by that time there are a lot of school, lot of different sects, lot of different interpretation about the Buddhism, about the teaching of the Buddha, and so many kind of variations we can see when we go through the teaching of the Buddha. But even though whatever the like 𝗘𝗵𝗺𝗺, 𝗪vastivādo, and also many other different school, if they are having different notion or different kind of interpretation about the teaching of the Buddha, so commonly they accepted this 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃 Sutta. So you can see from this slide clearly, even though it is in Theravada tradition, it is in Samyutta Nikaya, mostly in Samyutta Nikaya, and also Khandaka. And when we go to the Sarvastivada, in the Chinese translations of the Samyutta Agama, we call it Agama in Sanskrit translation. And also the Tibetan canon also, it is explained in a different way in Sarvastivada version. And Mula Sravastikavada as well as it is explained about that. So this is this slide just giving some information to you. 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta is not only a teaching or acceptance or the matter or the sutra which is accepted in Theravada. So you can clearly identify with this information. This is what commonly accepted to all Buddhist tradition, all the sect in Buddhism, all the schools in Buddhism, even though it is not considered about Theravada or the Mahayana or the Sarvastivada or the Mula Sravastivada or Dharma Sarasika. So all the teachings, so commonly they accept this is the 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta, and as well as it is the first sermon of the Buddha. So this is very good information to all of you. So today, what I thought of discussion, especially in this particular sutta, I would like to focus your attention, especially to talk about two extremes to be avoided, especially sensual indulgence and the self-mortification, and the middle way, and we call Majjhima Pratipada, and we are in detail we are discussing, and the Four Noble Truths as well as 12 insight of the Four Noble Truths. So these are the main and key point that we can quote, that we can get from this 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta. So we will discuss one by one later. So you have to consider about this matter. In 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta, this is the first sermon what was actually which was taught by the Buddha, and mainly the most important thing, not about historically, how about the story about 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta, but most important thing, what Buddha taught, what would they explain, emphasize, what Buddha really wanted to tell to the society, to the community, to the people, especially through this 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta. So that is what I am here, of course, as key points, key topics, key points I have already focused your attention. One about is two extremes way, and the second one middle way, and the third one, of course, a Four Noble Truth. Of course, Four Noble Truth should be when we go the gradual way, like it should be like the second, and the middle way is this should be the third, and the 12 insight of the Four Noble Truth. Okay, so entire Dhamma talk, entire this discussion, so I will let you, of course, whatever problem you are having, whatever matter you are having, I will let you to discuss. You can raise any question related to this matter. This we are, of course, searching and seeking, and we are learning and practicing Dhamma. So, of course, it is normal situation that we can have a lot of problem in practicing. We are having we are meeting facing a lot of difficult situation in our life. So you can share with me, and you can, of course, get some solution based on the 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗃 Sutta, how we can, of course, apply this teaching into our life. Okay, let me know if it is my talk is not clear, my sound is not clear, or if you cannot see me, then let me know. Okay. So the most important thing, what we have to understand in this sutta. So yes, anything?
Andy,
Somebody already actually switch on your microphone. So can you mute it? If you have any question, you can raise. But if no question, better you mute your microphone. Okay, it could be good for everyone, so they can, of course, silently listen to the talk. Okay. So most important thing, and we have to understand one important matter here. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Okay. So the proclamations of release from the circle of rebirth, okay, and mostly this teaching in 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃 Sutta leading to Nibbana. It means from the beginning, whatever concept is there, whatever teaching is there, all these concepts, very important, those who practice Dhamma. If somebody is not practicing Dhamma and just listening and just wanted to get some knowledge, it is something else. But this teaching is very important. Someone who really want to find the answer for their question. That is why at the end of the sutta, ඤ්ඤාසි වතබෝ කොණ්ඩඤ්ඤෝ විහෙතං විහිතමලං ධම්මචක්කුං උදපාදි. That is how the ended up the sutta. Vihetang Vihitamalan Dhammachakung Udapadi. So you will see that the second point here, the attainment of right view of the first awakened disciple, Anya Kondanya. Anya Kondanya. Of course, his name is Kondanya, but we use another part is Anya. It means someone who really realized this exact nature of the life. So then, that is another point. One, about it is explained about the circle of rebirth, how that people have to circle throughout this samsaric journey. Second one, someone who of course understand about this circle of rebirth, and those who really wanted to stop it, or else like someone who wanted to away from this suffering. So they come to another point. They are coming to the Nibbana. How it is explained, Anya Kondanya, is mean as a result of knowing and as a result of having this right view, they can come to the second step. So then, as well as it is explained clearly, proclamations of the Devas upon the setting of the wheel of Dhamma in motions of the Buddha. So you will see when you go through the 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃 Sutta, it is of course a lot of Devas, how that they express their happiness, especially the way they join for this sutra. So that is, these are very important factors. Okay, when it comes to the important point, to whom Buddha especially preach this Dhamma talk, especially these sutras. Atako Bhagava Panchavagye Bhikkhu Amantesi. Actually, I'm not going to take much time to talk about the historical information, why Buddha have to talk about this, especially focusing 5 ascetics. So I'm not going to talk about the story. It is something else. But basically, we know that all the 5 ascetics, actually, they had an intention, they had a kind of way, like they of course, earlier, they are ascetic. The ascetic, of course, ascetic is a common concept in Indian society by that time. It's mean 6th century BC, like many years ago. So then by that time, ascetic mean whoever the people, those who rejected or those who stopped the lay life and household life, then they into practice, like could be Buddhist or could be Jainism, could be other kind of religious practices or whatever. But so then they into practice, how basically the Agarasma Anagaryan. They are called Agarasma Anagaryan mean having abandoned, having stopped the household life. Anagaryan mean like without any kind of relationship, any kind of bondage or any kind of attachment to the household life. So it is very nice. So those who are like with that condition, they are called ascetic. You have to understand, ascetic is not only someone who really practice Buddhism, but no Buddhism by that time. Before even the Buddha also considered as an ascetic by earlier. So then ascetic mean agarasma anagaryam pabbajito. So Buddha used the term pabbajito, but even the ascetic also same like that. Even they also stop household life, like they are not having any job, any kind of household bondage, but then they stop all this attachment, and with the intentions of realizations of this truth. So then that
这一年点要学嘛。
okay, I cannot actually can mute the microphone, those who are speaking. If anybody has have any question, they can of course ask, but if no question, of course better mute the microphone. Okay, then it could be very good for everyone. Okay, so we all are here, of course, to know something about this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. We all know about Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, but more than that, additionally, we really want to know why Buddha taught about them through this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, what kind of Dhamma matters explained by the Buddha. So then it could be very essential and very important to all of us. So then the second, I was explaining clearly here, Buddha taught this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta focusing 5 ascetics. The 5 ascetics is, of course, they are ascetic not only based on because of this teaching, but before they become Buddhist, or before they understand about this reality, they actually had been practicing this kind of maybe it could be not really good for their body, or kind of a physically very much harmful things, or whatever practices they did. So they did with the intentions of realizing the Nibbana, or realizing the final goal. But then, so the 5 ascetics, as you all know, very clear. So earlier they treated to the Bodhisattva before the attainment of the enlightenment. Then after enlightenment, they actually had kind of a hesitation to accept the teaching of the Buddha. Especially they had an kind of hesitation to accept Buddha as an enlightened being. That's the problem. When we not having a trusted kind of somebody, if we are not trusting someone, so we don't like to accept any opinion, any idea, any kind of teaching, any kind of ideas from them. Same like that, the 5 ascetics, they are of course very normal human beings, even though they are ascetics, but they have been practicing kind of a different teaching for many years. But still, as they treated earlier to the Bodhisattva, but Bodhisattva actually did not come to any good level, any good understanding as they thought, but then they had kind of hesitation to do their treatment for the Buddha. Okay, that is the story. But if anybody want to know further about this story, after the Dhamma discussion, after Dhamma talk, you can raise any question, but we can later discuss, but it is not relevant to this talk very much. Okay, as usual, we know that a lot of suttas in the teaching of the Buddha, according to the way of, like, we know that by the Venerable Ananda, that is normal. Even this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗁𝗂𝗁𝗃, it is started like that, but it is also, of course, explained by the Venerable Ananda. That is how it is mentioned in the sutta initially. Okay. When come to see, so we see that Dhamma or Dharma, Dhamma is the Pali word and Dharma is the Sanskrit word, can mean a variety of things depending on its context. In this context, it refers to the Buddha's teachings or his truth that leads to one's liberation from suffering. Okay. Actually, Dhamma, we don't have a specific English term to explain what is Dhamma. But we are okay to understand with our knowledge. Dhamma mean, of course, it refers to the Buddha's teaching. Here in this context, we use the term of Dhamma, especially talk about the word of the Buddha, truth. But another meaning is Dhamma mean truth that leads to one's liberation from suffering. Okay. So later we will discuss why it is called as truth and why Dhamma call it as truth. Okay. So if it is considered as truth, that's truth or that's teaching is, of course, leading to one's liberation from suffering. Another meaning here, what is suffering? clearly explained later. We will discuss those things. In fact, a lot of Buddhist devotees, what I have seen, they have a wrong misinterpretation about suffering. Some they say suffering mean kind of way, like we feel very sad and we feel very disappointing and something like that. But actually suffering is, if anybody asking Bhante, what is suffering? So it is suffering mean you cannot, of course, maintain the things around you as you want. If anything is there, it could be your things like your whatever stuffs belong to you or whatever thing, but you cannot always maintain as you want. It is there is a situation that you cannot control it, that you cannot manipulate it, that you cannot, of course, do what really you want by using that concept. That is what in Buddhism we call suffering. Suffering is not as people interpretation, like they interpreted it is a kind of a suffering mean very sad situation, very sorrowful situation. But situation is not sorrowful. It becomes sorrowful if you are not okay, not mindful, not good enough knowledge to control the situation as you want. Because as you want, you cannot control. You have to understand this is the nature. When you come to that point, the suffering is no more suffering to you. But this is not, of course, not come by word, but it is to be, of course, you have to achieve and get the situation in the practical way. So then the chakra is the word used here. Dhamma is, you can understand now, truth. Okay, truth means the situation that you are undergoing. Chakra means the Pali word. In the chakra, the Sanskrit word can be translated as wheel. So Dhamma chakra, as when you get these two terms, you can say, which can be translated as Dhamma wheel. So what is the nature of the wheel? So you see that nature of the wheel. So the Dhamma wheel mean, okay, you cannot see in which position, in which moment you need Dhamma. No, like that. Dhamma mean when you practice this teaching, it becomes, of course, a major part of your life. When you apply Dhamma into your life, you don't see it should be only morning or noon or the night time or this month or this year. No, like that. Dhamma become very practical way when you work, when you speak, when you behave, when you talk with someone, when you act with someone. So whatever the situation you are having, each situation, of course, Dhamma is there. So we can later discuss how the Dhamma is there. Example, okay, you think for a while. In related to family context or the social context or the professional context or your what you experience in modern society. Okay, I still hear some sound. Better mute the sound, and it could be very good if with the sound like a bit noisy, and it could be little disturbing to others. Okay, sorry, I'm actually requesting like that. This is really for me also. This is a kind of disturbance, and I cannot keep talking when I hear the things. So then I go bit away from the topic like that. Then pay attention about another things. Okay. Okay, we were talking about the chakra, and we were talking about the how that the things in our life. Example, sometimes in our life, whatever thing we are experiencing, whatever thing we are having, so everything. So we are not going to talk about. We are going to talk about like the things how going to be changed. This is a normal situation. But if the thing is not favor to us, then only we think about this matter. You think like this, okay? So you get the lottery. The lottery is something like something kind thing that you get some lottery or whatever thing. Okay, you get some kind of a benefits, not really in the right way or the wrong way, but doesn't matter however you get. But when you get something like that, then you don't think about it is something, your destiny or the fate or something wrong with you. But you think for a while, if you lose something, you always used to think, oh, it is my fate, it is my life, it is what I really had done in my previous life, like that. So this is what we have to understand. So always we have to realize that if we are okay about the situation exactly, each situation become either good or bad, it is a situation. So this is not very normal. That is why the 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗁 Sutta, or the practically when applied to our life, it is not easy. So when you get the decision about the situation, if the situation is not favor to you, you really don't like to accept the situation. But if the situation is, of course, favor to you, then only you are accepting this situation. So then the Dhamma Chakra, which can be translated as a Dhamma wheel, is a Buddhist symbol referring to a Buddha's teaching of the path to enlightenment. So then the next point is, okay, once you come to the point suffering, when the suffering, you understood the suffering exactly something as it is. So when you understand something as it is, you see not only the present situation, even the past situation, present situation, as well as what could be happen next. So then when you come to this understanding, doesn't matter how it was in the past, how it is in the present, how it will be in the future, because you are having right understanding about the things, about the situation, about the ideas, about what you're experiencing. So then this understanding is important. So Dhamma mean is true, Chakra mean is, of course, your understanding, then it is the enlightenment. Once you come to this right path, right track, so of course it becomes Dhamma Chakra. It becomes your life way, your way of your thinking, way of your acting, whatever thing you're having. If it is harmful to yourself and harmful to others, so of course by using this teaching and matters, Dhamma matters, of course, by applying to your life, you can, of course, change your situation. Okay. So then, now I come to the point here. So this sutra, of course, taught by the Buddha, especially to extremes that are not to be indulged. They may be 𝗐𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 pabbajitena 𝗏 I think what I already explained up to now, it is about the some historical data and especially about some information. But this is the point that we have to understand and start the sutta. Two extremes that are not to be indulged. They may be 𝗐𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 pabbajitena. Another point you have. So you will see this thought and this idea surely focus about especially to monks. Pabbajitena means monk. Nasavitabba, should not associate. They may be 𝗐𝗵𝗺. The 𝗐𝗐𝗵𝗺 mean the monks. So these are called anta. Anta means extremes. So two extremes. These two extremes, of course, always harmful to everyone. Okay, let's see what are they. Actually, so most important thing in Buddhism, if you go through all the rules, all the discipline rule in Buddhism, could be 5 precepts, could be 227 precepts for monks. So the 10 precept or the 8 precept, 318 precept for nuns. So whatever the precept enacted by the Buddha, all these precepts enacted by the Buddha, especially based on a reason. Without a reason, no any rule is there. This is very important. But now today, when we do any kind of a rules and when we try to suggest to like accept any rule in the, like could be the parliament or wherever, but we thinking about the future situation, we try to prepare the rule. But all the rules in Buddhism, of course, enacted by Buddha, undergoing the situation, what he experienced in his life. Okay, you remember when Buddha come to this position, like a two extremes way, self-mortification and self-indulgence, or 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗁 yoga or 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga. Okay, this mean in the short way, the 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗁 yoga mean that you are, of course, make happy all your organs, and especially thinking about like not consider about the merits or the demerits or result, but you just want to make happy your five faculties, your eye, your tongue, your mouth, your ears, or whatever. And 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga is kind of where you are torturing your body to with the purpose of realizations of the reality. So you don't forget this 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga as well as 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga, both this teaching, of course, those who accepted this teaching, their intention was not any other thing but to realize the real situation of our life. This is very important. Okay, when come to this one, sensual pleasure with reference to the sensual object like base, vulgar, common, ignoble, and unprofitable. So this is the point you have to understand. Both extremes are labeled anatta sanghito. You see this one here. This 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga and 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga in Dhammachakkappavatthana Sutta are considered as anatta sanghito. Anatta means extreme position. So those who are practicing 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga, 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga, of course, they never can find any kind of enlightenment or the realization based on these two extremes, because these are extreme. The Buddha come to this understand as a result of understanding and experiencing by in his life. As a prince, he experienced 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga. As an ascetic, he experienced 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga. He did a lot of torturing into his life in as an ascetic, and he, of course, entertained his entire life during his prince time. Okay, then you can understand Buddha is coming to this position and considers these 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga and 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga as two extremes based on his knowledge. This is very important. So you remember, that is why even today we really appreciate and accept the teaching of the Buddha. Why? Buddha is a human being. He is not someone is a supernatural one who really staying in the another planet or somewhere, I don't know, another planet or somewhere, who really put in some rules and manipulating people. He's a people, he's a man, he's a person who lived as a man, as well as who passed away as a man. So you can see, as a human being. So he went and he really underwent so many physical pain in his life, especially in his when he in the 18 years old. He's a normal human being nature. Okay, let me know some comments here. Okay, thank you. Okay, then so you can understand. So the word of the Buddha used in the sutta, anatta sanghito, these two extremes ways are, of course, one of them is not neither 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga, 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga, no, of course, not of course giving any kind of benefit to any person. Okay, let's see why it is. This means anyone who follows those two extremes are unaware of the anatta or the nature. Okay, but one thing is important. When you go through historical information in the Indian society, so you see a lot of religious practitioners, they really practice, especially different kind of teaching. Some of them really they make happy all their five organs, and some of them really thought and making happy their five organs is not the way to realize the reality. So they have to, of course, to torture their body. Only by through that kind of activity they can realize the truth. So those who, so somebody will see, okay, so Buddha in Dhammachakkappavatthana Sutta use kind of a different term. Okay, here, yochayang kamesu 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 yogo hino gammo potu janiko anaryo anatta sanghito. So you see with the word of the Buddha, when Buddha explained 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 yoga, he additionally used, label it. How? 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺 is a normal term which used for both 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 yoga, self-indulgence and self-mortification. But when talking about the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, self-indulgence, so Buddha used the term and it's labelized, highlights by using 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺. This is very important. Why? So then this, if somebody is of course giving more kind of satisfaction or kind of way they attach to the material things, so their life is subjected to more suffering. Because when the things going to be changed, so they cannot of course control the emotion. If we used to have a very example, very sophisticated, very a new mobile phone, expensive mobile phone. So up to that level when you come, so you don't want to change that one, you want to go higher and higher. You don't want to change it and come to a very normal mobile phone. Same like that. Very simple example. You see, when people used to practice 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, self-indulgence, so they don't want, of course, to continue that life, because they really don't want to stop that life, because they think, so continuation of that life could be the way of thinking and way of course, stopping this kind of suffering, and they can, of course, understand the truth. That is why they are called, of course, 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃 in Buddhism. 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃 means they are not accepting any result of the action. They're not accepting the result of the action, whether they are having any damageful thing, any harmful thing, any wrong thing, any good thing, any bad thing or sinful thing, but they are not going to accept any result of course, doing any doing those things. So that is the nature of the 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga. But very different when you come to 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga. 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, they are of course used to torture their body. But remember, in between 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, those who of course make happy their 5 faculties, but Buddha really appreciate. But the Buddha consider these two are extremes. Okay, don't worry about that, no any doubt about that. But it is kind of, we call it intoxicated with a sensory pleasure, like we addicted to those things, and when we addict and we don't like to change it, we still want, we always want to make happy our eye, our ears, our mouth, and our body, and these 5 faculties we want to make happy. But Buddha clearly mentioned why additionally use some words to explain 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga. It is because not any other thing, but really more than the 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, more than the torturing of your body, you remember 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, and giving and make happy your sensual your 5 faculties is really damaged. It is really harmful. That is why Buddha used 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 additionally used. It is of course vulgar and worldly and ignoble and not connected with the goal. Of course, even the torture into the body is not connected with the goal. Okay, as well as more than that, if we are of course make happy your faculty, it is at all not connected with the goal. It's mean in between 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga and 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga, even though that Buddha directly not expressed, not talk about that, but I feel why that 𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 yoga too much in a way, like in an extreme way, that Buddha explain, and it is really harmful to the people life, because they are not accepting the result of the action. Those who are not accepting the result of the action, you just think for a while. Today, those who are like whoever the different roles that we meet in the society, they can do whatever they want. They can think whatever they want. They can behave in whatever they write as they want. So even though that their behavior, their action, their speech, though their thought patterns, even though it is harmful to others, they don't care about that. You see, even social knowledge wise, even this 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga to someone who really extremely accept this 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga as a path to liberation. So they are doing a lot of harmful things because they are not going to accept the result of the action. So that is why Buddha in between 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga and 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 yoga, but more than the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 yoga, 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 yoga considered as a kind of a two extremes way, as it is really cover up, and of course it really make kind of a big damage to huge damage to our spiritual growth or spiritual path. Okay, then come to the next slide. Okay, so in the sutta, most important thing, then come to the middle way. Okay, so Majjhima Patipada. So one thing you have to understand that normally the normal meaning you get is middle path, but one has to realize the dangers of getting drunk. The term Majji or the Majja is of course used intoxicated with sense pleasure. Okay, if you are a person who really try to enjoy your eye by watching, by seeing the thing, and if you really would like to enjoy your make happy your ears, especially by listening to the things, gossip, diversity speech, and so many nonsense things. So like that, you can match with the other kind of organs. But so then you are getting drunk with those. So you don't think like people normally, we think getting drunk only after having alcohol or something, but not only that. When you see people say, I'm having some depression, I'm having some stress, I'm having a lot of mental disorders. Why that? They are of course getting drunk with in a different way. They are getting drunk with like a kind of way they are what they really want to enjoy and make happy their eye, make happy their ears or the nose or the mouth or the body or whatever. This is what we call like the nature of the karma world. People always like to make happy their five faculties. Here, ma, the term ma means getting released or from is like a rejecting or stopping it. Just like in samma means sang. Sang ma, you see that two terms how I use here. See, what is sang? Sang meaning of sansara, is mean existence. You remember, Majjhima Patipada. So if you come to the self-indulgence or the self-mortification, both these two positions are considered in Buddhism really, which really covered or really not okay to open the right path. So then when people not practice self-indulgence or the self-mortification, then they automatically come to Majjhima Patipada. So Majjhima Patipada, so you have to understand Majjhima, especially. So when you getting drunk with your, especially when if you are a person who really want to make happy, console your eye or nose or the ears or the mouth or the body, then how long you are going to enjoy these things? What happened? Sang meaning sansara is mean existence. Your existence there. Okay, further I will explain if you want to know further about this matter. But this is very deep deep teaching, a deep concept actually. But in this context, you can understand how you really wanted to maintain or the give and keep especially your sensual pleasure, especially based on your five faculties. That is what called here san. Okay, sansara means the existence of these things. So if you can control your the fixtures or the thing what you used to see by using your eye, or what you used to hear by using your ears or something like that, then that existence is no more there. So then we call in a very good interpretation in, of course, explain in Majjhima Nikaya, they clearly explain about this one. You see then the word Buddha used by the word Buddha is here, the example. So you see that when people used to see some pictures, they use, of course, their eye. But only not only they use their eye, but using their eye when they get it, and it is actually absorbed and grasped by our mind. So then Buddha explained chakkuncha rupancha paticce uppacchati chakku viññāna. Chakku mean eye, rupa mean outside matter, when you see the outside matter by using your own eye, 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃, when you get these two matter, your eye and the external matter, and 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃 paticce means getting, actually they are grasping and like attaching. And what happened? Uppajjati, okay, you will gain chakku viññāṇam. It means the birth of the picture, the birth of the image. Same like that, you will say, when you are not controlling your eye, ear, nose, and mouth and body, all these five faculties, you are into this existence. This existence is because, of course, really, how long you are not going to control this emotion pattern, so long you are going to be suffered in this life. It means that is what here called in samsara. It means the existence. Okay. When come to the middle part, I'm not going to talk in deep these things. So whatever question you have at the end of the talk, we can discuss in, of course, we can discuss. The second thing, and the important thing, the normal eightfold path, you know, all of you are, I think, very familiar with these 8 factors: understanding, right thought, right speech, action, livelihood, and effort, and mindfulness, and concentration. But the most important thing is not about this eightfold path, but you see, these 8 concepts are explained by means of we call 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃. 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁 mean 3 parts here: ethical conduct, sila, mental discipline, and wisdom, paññā. You see how it is explained here. You see, the right view and right intention, samma ditti and samma sankappa. Okay, then now another point. Earlier I explained to you, samma mean sansara. Okay, so samma, ma meaning, of course, stopping. You want to stop sansara mean you want to stop your suffering. You want to get rid from this situation. So what could be happen? The right view. View mean something you understand. Right mean it should be right. Then another point, how we consider it is right. So example, what you practice, what you think, what you do here, in example in Malaysia or Sri Lanka, any other country. But when you move to any other country, something, sometimes it may not, of course, accepted in that particular culture. It may not really, they may say, okay, this is in okay, maybe it is in Malaysia or Sri Lanka, it is okay. But this kind of understanding is not okay in Malaysia, in Europe or any other country. So then how we call it is right? Very easy to understand. The second one, right intention. These 2 matter come under paññā. Okay, paññā mean wisdom. Okay, if you are not having right view, if you are not having right intention, then it is, of course, meaning is you are not having right wisdom. Okay, you see, right view, in Anguttara Nikaya explain, right view mean is about the Four Noble Truth. Okay, I'm not going to talk about in detail about the Four Noble Truth, but later any question have you can ask. But okay, you remember Four Noble Truth here is called in paññā. How it become paññā? Word use is samma ditti. It means right view. The most important point here, why do they call it right view? Without right view, how you can move to other concept? Another point, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration considers as samma samadhi. And right speech, right action, right livelihood considered as sila. But in an overall picture, we normally take and practice sila, samadhi, paññā. But according to the way of that eightfold path, you will get the first point, paññā, samadhi, sila. Okay. But you remember, without sila, it is really difficult to come to next point, samadhi. Once you come to samadhi, you can easily come to paññā. But you will see why then Buddha could not have, of course, mentioned like right view and right intention as in the bottom, but why he didn't mention like right speech, right action, right livelihood in the top. Okay, it has a reason. Reason you can understand. Okay, here the right view, right intention it is the first, but you have to understand not to look top to bottom, but in Buddhism, always going bottom to top. You will see how that people practice right speech in their in his individual life, in his family context, in his working place, or wherever in a material world, wherever they practice right speech. Then you consider, if you are practicing right speech, in the right speech, no gossips, no divisive speech, no pointless speech, no empty talk. So see, it is so tough. Sila, as you think like going to one place and particular place, staying there 1 month or 2-3 months and doing the meditation is not Sila. You always contact, you always see the situation and problem in the society. If you are not applying your teaching into the society, when you are living in the day-to-day life, in your normal life, this means you have totally failed. You, even though you have been practicing 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, many years or many days, you are going to many monasteries and many temple, and you have been practicing this kind of thing. Is a always Bhante, I do metta meditation now more than 2 years, 3 years. But of course useless if you cannot control your speech. See how wrong it. If you are not okay to control your speech, how damageful to it, how harmful to it. It is, of course, if you see a lot of so many family issues in all over the world because of the speech, because of the wrong action, because of the wrong livelihood, nothing else. If you can control your speech, if you can control your action, if you can control your livelihood, the way of living. Okay, please mute your microphone. Somebody open it, and okay, don't do like that. And it is really disturbing and cannot keep talking. Okay, you see, and whenever something happen, you be careful. And of course, I'm not okay to continue it very much in a peaceful way. Okay, right speech, right action, right livelihood. So you understand. It is why Buddha considers Sila. Okay, Sila mean, as people think, Sila mean is not just wearing a white clothes and like being in the temple or 1 or 2 days. And in Sri Lankan context, I'm not familiar with the Malaysian context, but in Sri Lankan context, we used to see like Sila mean people consider about 1 month a time or 2 months a time. So they are going to the temple and wearing white clothes and they stay in the temple and like that. But I have my personal experience in my life. Okay, later we'll share with somebody more. But I have seen somebody who has been doing this practicing Sila for more than 15-20 years, but still in their family has some problem because of their speech, because of their action, because of their livelihood. Oh, you see that Sila is not very easy thing to put into practice, very tough matter. If through the practicing of Sila, okay, it means you are considered about your speech, action, and livelihood, then only you can slowly move into the effort, mindfulness, and concentration. If your mind is something like thinking about some other situation and some other factors or some other wrong thing and some problem, how you can move into the other situation? You cannot, of course, practice the thing. You cannot apply good things to your life. You can remove the things. You can erase the thing from your life. So bad thing you cannot do because you still practicing wrong speech, wrong action, and wrong livelihood. It means you always cultivate wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong concentration. It means that is not mindfulness. That is not concentration. That is not right effort. How? If we are not having right effort, mindfulness, or the right concentration, how you come to right view or the right intention? So this is, you have to understand, from the bottom you have to go to top. Okay, once you go to the top, then the way you see the around is totally different. When you see something about sitting in the bottom, nothing you can see properly. So that is why Buddha explained this matter. Okay, when you practice this Majjhima Patipada, okay, this middle path, okay, it should be like that. Okay, So the right understanding, I'm not having more time, then I'm not going to take much time about this one. Okay, we can later discuss about this matter. Okay, so then the Chattari Ariya Satchani. So here about the talk about the Four Noble Truths, Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, and Magga. So we will discuss how this thing, the first noble truth is explained, Idang 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 Dukkhaṃ Ariya Satcham. So earlier I explained dukkha mean is not anything else, but if you are not okay to control, or if you are not okay to maintain the things around you as you want. Why things around you mean? Things around mean things that you get from your five faculties. In the world have a lot of things, but you are not going to take all those things, but you only get what you see, what you hear, what you like close to the thing. Or even though all those things, of course, you cannot maintain and you cannot take them into you as you wanted. So that is why Idang 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃 Dukkhaṃ Ariya Satcham. But it is explained by using like a birth pain, is old age is a pain, the sickness is pain, the death is pain, the sorrow is grief, something like that. But you remember why it is called Ariya Satcham. Dukkha is a Ariya Satcham. It is a natural phenomena. It is of course subjected to like every single phenomena, individual phenomena, every single thing in the universe, of course, subjected to change. How long you are not going to understand this one, you are going to be suffered. But Dukkhaṃ Ariya Satcham. Ariya Satcham means understand the truthful thing. It means suffering is the truth. Why? Suffering is the truth mean that's the nature. That is the right thing, real thing in the of course, it is a common to each and everything. It is not only a common matter, or not only like a particularly like into a some one or two or three, but it is a common matter for everything. That is why Buddha mentioned it is a Ariya Satcham, Dukkhaṃ Ariya Satcham. So you are knowing about the suffering is become a Ariya Satya. Satya means truthful mean. It means you have to understand dukkha. Then the result. Okay, dukkha mean the birth or the old age or the sickness or the pain is not suffering to be sorrowful or be disappointed. What is mentioned? First truth, Buddha called Dukkhaṃ Pariññayam. Pariññayam means understand. How long you are not going to understand this suffering, so long you are going to be disappointed and going to be suffered. Why? Because you don't understand it, you don't accept it. But when you understand this dukkha mean is of course the suffering, then this understanding is Buddha mentioned pariññaya. Why that pariññayam? Pariññayam means okay, you become very knowledgeable, you become with about good understanding about this dukkha. Why it is important? So then the second truth is of course pariññayam and 𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗺. 𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗺 means okay, you understand the birth is suffering, old age is suffering, or the other things are suffering. Okay, other things is suffering. But remember, finally what happened? If you are not understanding, you cannot, of course, give up the thing, abandon the thing. To abandon, to give up, to get rid from the situation, first you have to understand. It is almost just like if you are moving and meeting a doctor. So if you are revealing the truthful thing, how doctor diagnose you properly. So by that, based on that, then to eradicate the situation, so dispel the situation, so he recommend kind of treatment to you. Same like that. If you are not understanding dukkha, if you not accept dukkha as dukkha, so long you are not going to understand the truth. Then you are not going to apply anything, because you dukkha you get as kind of very happy thing, or very something come or something whatever. Then that is why Buddha mentioned, when you come to the second point, first one, Dukkhaṃ Pariññayam Samudayaṃ 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗃. Dukkha mean the suffering, it should be definitely understand. Based on that understanding, second truth is called Samudayaṃ 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗃. Samudaya mean desire for whatever thing. Then 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗃, you can get rid, you can dispel based on your understanding. And the third one is called Dukkha Nirodhaṃ. Buddha mentioned it clearly, with the complete non-passion and the cessations of this very desire, with its abandonment, and the renunciation with its liberation and detachment from it. Okay, 𝗗𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃, beautiful 4 word used by Buddha in Dhammacakkappavatthana Sutta. So 𝗗𝗵, once you understand the suffering, then you understand clearly this is suffering. When you come to this understanding, then slowly you get rid the 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗺, mean away from the situation, what really affected to suffer. And the third point, 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃, okay, liberation, letting go, release, and non-adherence. So see that Buddha used. See, this is the gradual way that Buddha explained. This is very, very beautiful, because it is not like from one point to other point in a not interconnected, but this is of course interconnected. So then Buddha explained, 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃. So when you come to third point, of course you understand this suffering is suffering. The suffering should get rid from this suffering. How can I get rid? There should be a way to practice. Then I try to apply it this way into my life. And then this is how that the last truth is explained based on the 𝗪𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃, what I call mention eightfold path. Okay. Another point is 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃 𝑑ukkhaṃ pariññāti, what I mentioned now. Pariññāti mean understanding. 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗺, second one, the reason for the suffering should be abandoned, should be give up, should be dispelled. And the second one, 𝗠𝑐𝑐⁁𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃, of course, you have to experience it, you have to practice it. And Arya Satchang, third one is, fourth one we call idang dukkha nirodhagāmiṇī patipada Arya Satchang bhavetabbaṃ. There is a way to abandon, or there is a way to get rid from this kind of a different situation or kind of extreme. So that is what we call Majjhima-patipada. You have to bhavetabbaṃ mean practically you should be able to apply into your life. Okay. I'm not going to talk about this 3 turnings, so it already time is of course passing. So important point here, 12 turning of the wheel, as I mentioned. So in this sutta, we can understand Four Noble Truth as well as middle part, and the most important thing, 12 turning of the wheel. So this is what suffering arising, cessation of suffering, path leading to end of suffering. This is the Four Noble Truth here, the first row. The second row, you can see that how it come, of course, how you have to do from your side, recognitions and the encouragement and realization. So, okay, recognition is what? This is suffering. Encouragement is what? The suffering should be understood. Okay, and the realization, suffering is understood. Okay, then the realization is, when you come to realization, you see, okay, this is something else. It is. Okay, this is not something any other thing. Like, you focus and you train your mind to understand the situation as it is. So you are not going to understand the situation in a different format. But when you understand the situation as it is, of course, no more lamentation, no more regret, no more any problem, because you understand the situation as it is. It's been related to that situation, whatever difficulties, whatever circumstances, whatever problem is there. So of course you accept, because you understand the situation as it is. So that is why it is called realization. Even the second truth also something like that. The third one also like that. The fourth one also like that. Okay, you can ask any question if you have later. Okay, the last important thing. So Buddha, through the Dhammacakkappavatthana Sutta, so I didn't mention about the history or the story about this Dhammacakkappavatthana Sutta, but at the end of the sutta, it is mentioned very important word used by the Buddha. Chakkung udapadi, jnanam udapadi, paññā udapadi, vidyā udapadi, āloko udapadi. So finally say Dhamma chakkung udapadi. You see, chakkung udapadi, jnanam udapadi, paññā udapadi, vidyā udapadi, āloko udapadi. All these terms like giving some very similar interpretation. Vision arose, knowledge arose, wisdom arose, understanding arose, and light arose. Finally say, Dhamma chakkung udapadi. Dhamma I to see Dhamma was born. Like you see, what is the Dhamma I? That is very important. Mostly, you remember, it has a 2 meaning. One, knowledge based. One is outworld, like what we see, what we do in this normal society, in the material world, how we dealing with the things. It belongs to this one also. Why? From one side, in Buddhism, we accept conventional truth and absolute truth. It's mean in the Pali term, 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃 and 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃. When you come to I of Dhamma, it's mean when you see the things in the society, it is called conventional truth. 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃. Things are looking. Example, you see this bottle as a bottle or something. But when you come to the absolute truth, of course, that knowledge is based on the conventional truth you cannot see, but I can explain by words, but you cannot see. But I say using the bottle here, bottle, but if you of course removing all the part of this bottle is not there. Each part has different name. So you remember, so 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃, they practice their knowledge, they practice their mind to see the things as it is. So they are not going to add anything. They are not going to explain in some other way, but things they understand as they are. So that is very important. That is why Buddha mentioned 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃. That is how ended up the sutta. So 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁𝗃, as we know among the 5 ascetics, 𝗗𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃 is the ascetic one who really understood this one. So you see, so Buddha, after the enlightenment, he actually wanted to preach his Dhamma for many, but no. Later he understood for many no one. Then he actually considered about his teachers, but they passed away. Finally, he considered about the 5 ascetics. Out of them, 5 ascetics, only one of them became enlightenment. So you see how the teaching of the Buddha is really, of course, tough, and not only tough, but also you have to remember. So this is a way of thinking of how we practice our mind to see this one. So then only we can see the reality as it is. So how long if you are not practicing, so long you are not going to apply this teaching into your life. Of course, that is what throughout the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is explained. So, okay, hope if you are having any question, so you can raise and you can discuss. We can, of course, have any kind of a good discussion. Thank you so much. Wishing you all, may the Triple Gem bless all of you. Okay. Okay. Okay, Sister Izin, okay, already finished. So any question is there, they can raise if they have a question.
Thank you, Bhante. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Brother Kelvin, you can continue. Brother Kelvin or Brother Lim?
Kelvin.
Kelvin, okay.
Dhammacakkappavattana was revealed by Lord Buddha almost 2,500 years ago. It's the same Dhammacakkappavattana, the Four Noble Truths, is the same or was the same also preached or been revealed by all the other Buddhas in the past. Is this the same? Since Dhamma is the same, Dhamma is infinite.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. Suffering will be still suffering now, before, or the future. So if Dhammacakkappavattana was already being told, so it must have been told the same thing in the past, and it will be also in the future. So Dhammacakkappavattana is also infinite.
Yeah, good question. Okay, normally, according to the Theravada tradition, we accept 28 Buddhas. Okay, so there's one research article, but that's of course something only a research, but it mentioned so many Buddhas, of course, in this like a planet, when you get this as a planet. But okay, according to our way of teaching, we accept only 28 Buddhas. But all the 28 Buddhas, okay, so really they talk about not anything else really new, but they explain something what really in the society. So it's mean, so normally we get this Four Noble Truth based on the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, what Gautama Buddha taught. But even the other Buddha also, of course, explain about this Four Noble Truth. But only the thing, this is not something new or not something like introduced by the Gautama Buddha. What is in the society, he, of course, by using 4 terms, he take this message to the society. That is what happened. So suffering, it was in the society. suffering to be, of course, away from the suffering, it was in the society. The way of suffering, like how people can get rid from the suffering, was in the society, was in the universe. But then what would the Gautam Buddha did? So of course he wanted to take this message to the society, and it mentioned, at the end of my talk, I mentioned he wanted to taught this one to many teachers, but couldn't. And finally, he wanted to seek his teachers, but no. And finally, 5 ascetics, out of them, only one of them understood this reality. That is why the tough matter. Okay, as brother, as you explained, of course, this is the same teaching. What even other Buddha also talk about this based on this Four Noble Truth. Yes.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, no more question. Mean people, of course, they good understanding. Any question? Sister Isina, if anybody has question, okay, they can discuss.
Bhante.
Yeah.
Bhante can explain about the Vibhava-tanha.
Okay. Of course, the Bhavatanha, we have to understand first Bhavatanha, then only we can understand Vibhavatanha. Okay. Bhavatanha mean, of course, example, okay, you have a lot of money, you think, okay, I don't know, you have a lot of money, a lot of things, okay. So you want to get this thing in your next life also, after next life also. That is called Bhavatanha. It means you have a greedy to rebirth about this, thinking about this. Vibhavatanha is something different. Something mean, okay, you want to, like this life, you want to get a lot of things, but if you have a Bhavatanha, in the Bhavatanha, of course, you have a kind of way you control some emotion, because thinking, okay, if you do something bad to someone, you get bad result. If you are having some bad karma, you will get the bad result, something like. But Vibhavatanha mean, okay, it is a kind of a desire, so you don't want to get birth. But even there, what happened? It is a really harmful, same like Kamatanha, because you in this life you want to, of course, console and make happy all the 5 organs very much, and it's mean too much. And then you are not accepting any kind of a life next. This mean any kind of a life you are not accepting, mean whatever thing you want to do this life, you can do. It is called Vibhavatanha. It's mean you don't want to get a birth next. It's mean you want to live more and this life, and also you want to do whatever you want this life itself. That is what in the simple way called Vibhavatanha. But by understanding Bhavatanha is the opposite side Vibhavatanha.
Bhante, I can understand that craving for sensual pleasures will lead to Bhavatanha, because you cling to the
How
sensual
you are
pleasure.
living, you want to continue it.
Yes, but I still got difficulty in understanding Vibhava-tanha, because does it mean that you don't cling to the sensual pleasures?
No. They have more sensual pleasure. Actually, how? Okay, they don't think result of the action.
Okay.
They don't get it. If you are not accepting the result of action, you can do the murder, you can do the robbery, whatever you want, you can continue, no problem, because you don't accept. That is called Vibhava, because you are not accepting next life. These are too extreme.
Oh, okay.
Okay, these are too
extreme. That means Vibhava-tanha doesn't believe in law of karma.
No. Of course, they are called, they are Akiriyavada. Akiriya mean not accepting the result of the action.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Arising from brothers' question, Vibhava tanha, for a non-believer, it says that there's no afterlife. If there was one afterlife, I do not know that I am in that afterlife, because it is the sankhara that brings me to a new existence. My body is entirely a different body. And if I live today and I suffer, and I actually do not know what happened in my previous life, I did a lot of bad things, I'm non-believer. So I don't believe in existence.
Mm,
What
that's
is your comments, Bhante?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, of course, not understanding, like it is like this. Actually, the opposite to bhava. The bhava always it's we want to continue our existence. It's mean because we don't want to stop this what we get in this life. Example, you can understand this one based on the very poor person. If you meet a poor person, he always say, I don't want to have any birth because this is very very regretful and very sad life. But if you are meeting a very rich person, you can get a different answer. He want to continue this life. Like that, the person who really want to continue his luxury life, it's called bhavatanha. The vibhotanha, the people who really don't want, but remember, they want to do whatever really they want to do in this life, because if they don't believe the result of the action. So if they want to kill someone, no problem. They believe, okay, I don't have a next life, no problem. Example, if I have a next life, only I have to be afraid about that. Okay, what I do now at the moment. But if I don't have next life, no problem. I can kill and I can do whatever I want. Something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, okay. Okay, sister. I think we can end it up today. Dhamma talk. I can hear. I cannot hear because you already muted your microphone. Okay.
Hey, thank you, Bhante,
Okay.
for the time and the insight sharing with us. Bhante, can you lead for a merit dedication for today's teaching for the benefit of all?
Wish you all join for this online Dhamma talk. This is very convenient, of course, today. And we will wish with the merits that we accrue, especially based on your knowledge, what you learn throughout this Dhamma talk, and especially about 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗏 Sutta. We will do the transferring of merits for all the departed relatives, and all our departed relatives rejoice in these merits, and may they always find the peace and happiness, and may they have a better rebirth, and rebirth which is free from mental and physical suffering. Finally, may they attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that concept, so we will transfer merits like this. Okay, you also can join me. Idamme ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sukhi hotu, everyone. Okay.
Bhante, thank you very much for all your time and effort. I know you spend time to prepare all these things. Yeah, you have to prepare the slide and yes. Yeah, I know you are also very busy. I hope this session will benefit all. And in the future, sometimes when Bhante is free, we are always try to get invite Bhante to give some sermon, Dhamma talk online for the benefit of all. We don't have to travel. Now technology is very advanced and convenience for all of us. So if in the future there's any session like this, we can share with our friend for more people to get the benefit.
Okay. So we have to everybody. Okay,
One last question, Bhante.
Yeah.
Will there be another session? Say, for example, Anattalakkhana Sutta?
Okay, of course, Anattalakkhana Sutta, very close to Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. What really in detail explaining is in Anattalakkhana Sutta. Okay, we'll try to find the time and
that would be good. Follow up, because the 5 ascetics also become Arahant because of the second Sutta.
Okay.
So we hope can benefit from Bhante further clarification and thoughts on this subject. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So we'll do the end of the session. Okay, sister. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu.
Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, sister.
Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, welcome.
Good night, Bante.
Good night, everyone. Okay.
Right.